And now we welcome Amanda. So great to see you here today. Why don't we get started by asking you your story about when you were diagnosed and what was going on in your life that you thought, gee, there's something wrong here.
Well, back in 2016, I was getting sick on and off, like just that fall into the winter. And it just was really strange because my immune system's not normally that bad. And then the next thing I know, my dizziness is turning into my body is moving on its own and it's making me dizzy. My head is moving around like a bobblehead and my arms are flailing. I'm having tremors and crawling my way to and from the bathroom or kitchen. And I'm like, I got to go to the doctor. And when I went, they were just like, oh, well, you're just depressed and stressed, and we'll just give you some antidepressants. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you. So 8 doctors later, I finally find a doctor that is really interested in helping me. And he's like, no, this does not look normal. And we should be looking at some neurological diseases for this. So we went through MS and Parkinson's and, the long list. And he finally is like, okay, this is a rare disease, but I think that's the area we're in now. We've been going at this for 6 months. So let's just see if it's Wilson's disease. And sure enough, it was. I have the neurological end of Wilson's disease. And I started off on chelators.
Wow. So you found your diagnosis. And what were you told to do besides taking the chelators to help manage your Wilson disease?
I was told that I should do a low copper diet, which was incredibly intimidating because after he told me, he's like, and copper's in all the food, good luck. And I was like, okay, so do I go talk to a dietitian? What's the next thing that I do? And I didn't have any dietitians that were really interested in helping me with that because, again, not really talked about. So that was a new, very scary thing to try and navigate.
And you're really good at research. So obviously you Googled it, you did all that, to find out what the high, low, medium copper, really to set up your own low copper kitchen. And the reason that was important is you really felt they were very sensitive to copper, and you had a way of tracking, not that everybody else has to do this, so let me share your document and tell us what we're going to be looking at.
Yes, so this is something I developed after I noticed after having nuts one night, and the next day my symptoms were so much worse. I was like, okay, I've got to figure out a way of monitoring which high copper foods have so much effect on my body. And I know this, like, not everyone pays attention to their body like this, but I do. So if you look in it's towards the top of the upper left, you'll see new, and that would be where you would put chocolate or whatever foods that you're trying there. And then you have your X's and check marks, and you would say whether you did it or not. And then the bottom part is more filling out atmospherically what's happening to you, and then also what's happening to your body, so you can monitor those things throughout the month.
Very specific and certainly your own personal research. Back to copper and the copper list, you have also developed some charts that have to do with cooking and shopping. What are some smart swaps that you have for avoiding high copper foods?
Yes, I recently put together my Smart Swap chart, and it has like the swap for chocolate and carob chips and light and dark meat, and for soy, you would change it to coconut aminos.
And understand you also have substitute for raisins.
Yes, raisins, you can get yourself some craisins, and the low copper is awesome with those. And the flavor is kind of more interesting, I think, than just your average raisin. So.
I like that there's a high point there to finding substitutions for the high copper foods. But I think everyone is joining pretty much this webinar today because it's not easy to keep track of high, low, medium copper foods, and then to shop, to eat, to cook, to enjoy your life and be healthy overall. What is your number one thing you wish you knew more about in terms of the copper content of food, like the missing link?
I wish that there was really a site that you really could just go and find all of your foods and be able to see the copper content, whether it's 0 or 1,000,000, I don't care, but like just that it would be up there and ready to lock and load. And there's the USDA site, but it's a little difficult to navigate and you have to really know what you're looking for and how to use it. And then there's some big holes of like different name brands and things that aren't on there for that particular use. So.
Well, Amanda, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And that is where we're headed next, to find out more about the copper content of foods. So stay tuned, and thank you, Amanda.